What's up guys, welcome back to this part 2 of this water bending series. So for this I'm going to do a full tutorial but not breakdown this time. I want to show you everything step by step, start from tracking to the compositing. So I want you to sit back and watch this video to the end because you guys will learn a lot from this video. Okay, so first thing you have to do now is to track this footage, and first thing I have to do before I do anything, I will analyze my footage to see what is going on in the scene. So I just play through to see everything working. So you can see that we have camera movement in the scene, so I will track this, and what I will do now is not manual tracking but I will do auto tracking. So if you don't know how to do auto tracking, this video is for you. So we learn how to do auto tracking and how to solve camera like this. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I will just go ahead and detect features like so. You can see that the detect features only shows two features in the head, but I don't want to track the body. I only want to track the environment. So I'll just tweak the settings right here. So tweak everything so that I have more tracker. You can see how it's going to be. Okay, so that is that. So what I will do now is to clean all the trackers on his body. So I just select the trackers on the actor's body. So just to delete them because they are not going to be tracked, because it will just ruin our sub. Okay, you just have to check everything well and to see whether this is not really tracking the body. Okay, when that's done, so press A to select all. Now track everything. So just click and track everything. So that is done tracking. So what I will do now is to clean them up. So I'll just drag it up. You can see the bad tracks are very many here. So I just select them, start delete them. This is manual cleanup. We have something in Blender which is auto cleanup. We clean up bad track automatically for you, but I prefer doing it manually. Okay, because you know computer sometimes will not pick a correct track, so you just have to pick them randomly, but you with your eyes you will see everything going on the same. Okay, I think let me just go ahead and clean them up properly. You can see them now. You can see. So for now I'll just leave this, and this is done, so I'll just leave this track. So I just select all, press A, then hide them. So that's it, I will hide them all. So go back to the end reframe of this. So I will just click on detect features once again. So don't have to tweak any settings here again because you already detect features. The setting is still available in this. So what I have to do now is to just clean all the tracking in this body once again. So just to clean everything, select them, then press X to delete them. Now check it whether you are not selecting his body. It's very important. You can see that this graph is selecting, so I'll just delete it. Okay, so I'll just press A, then track backward. You can see, so we have a lot of tracking that is wrong and we have a lot of good track here. So I'll just go ahead and clean them up as usual. So I'll just clean everything up. So it's better you do it manually, like I said, so you can see everything going on in the scene for yourself. Okay, so that is all. You can see to check it very well to see whether something is going on, and I can see some tracking that are going wrong. You can see here. So I'll just clean up this track from this side. So I just click here. So you can see that I already cleaned up the track from this side. I don't want to clean all the track, you can see in the same, so I just clean everyone from this side. Okay, so what I will do now, you can see I still have some tracking that is going on here. Just clean up on this side instead of deleting them all. So just leave like this. So I will just have to bring back all the trackers. Press Alt then H to bring back all the tracking markers. Now I have to solve the camera, but I don't really remember all the camera details for this because I shot with, but I don't know the focal length, so I just have to guess and let's see whether everything will go right. Okay, now I'll go ahead and solve this camera. So first, before I solve the camera, I have to just input the camera details, the one I remember. So I just go ahead, go to the camera settings here, scroll down to camera. Now I know the sensor size of this camera, which is 23.5 is the sensor size, and the focal length of this camera, the length or the focal length I shot with the camera, I don't really remember. I think it's 18 or 24. Let me just put 24, I guess. It should be 24 to 35. That's the only two lengths I shot with. So let me just put that aside and let's go ahead and solve this. So that's all. I'll just choose keyframe for now. I can just leave it. Let me leave it, then solve it. Let's see everything. So you see that it's not solving, so you don't have to choose the keyframe, then solve, and everything will be done. As you can see now, this is done. You can see that we have a lot of bar track, you can see. So you can see that the curve is not really looking good right now. It's very wavy, and I think we can use this curve. So you can see here, even over here, the tracking is really wrong. You can see this. So you can just check and cross check to the lens to see this curve, to see where it's going wrong. You can see that this is not really working well. So I just have to do some cleanup, short cleanup here. So this is what you face when doing camera tracking. Just don't always have good track. So you have to just do it and deal with it as it is. So let's just deal with it. I don't want to skip this tutorial, so I just want to show everything that I'm going to be doing to this. So I just drag it down a bit. So it's better you see everything rather than just skipping the video. So I just resolve this, and it's like I still getting wrong camera. So what I will do is to select the keyframe by myself instead of using auto keyframe here. So I just choose from frame 224 here to 102. Let me just put 201 to 224. So let me just choose this as a keyframe for myself. So I just click apply flare. So this once again. So you can see that with the keyframe, everything gets solved properly. You can see now I have a good solve for this. You can see there's nothing, I do not skip the video, so everything I just do it in your view, and everything gets solved properly. You can see that this curve is straight. At least it will work on my video. So what I did here is you must check where you have a smooth camera curve. You can see here from here to here, you can see that the camera curve is quite smooth. If I shoot from here, the camera will not solve properly. That's it. So you can choose from here. You can see here the camera curve is smooth. You can see here and also here. So that's where the errors are. So when you choose from camera smooth, you have a good solve. Okay, that's that, and that's done. So what I will have to do now is to set up my scene. So for this, I'll just choose 3 points to set this as a floor. So choose 3 markers to set it as a floor. So just click here on floor. You can see set the floor. So I will choose one as the origin. So I will choose here as the, you can see the center list. But for some reason, you don't really also always have a good camera orientation. So you have to do it manually when you have to. So I just redo it to see what is going on. So I just set as floor once again. You can see that I think that is very okay. You can see that this is much better. Okay, now this is done. So I will just go back to the layout when doing everything. So this is the layout, and we don't see our tracker. So if you want to see your tracking marker, just click here. Now turn on the motion tracking. Now you see your tracking. You can see that this curve represents the 3D scene of the real life footage. I don't know, maybe that makes sense, but what happens here is that when you just, let me drag this up, all these points must also correspond to the scene according to the real environment. So let's check. You can see all this side is the wall side. You can see this wall, and this is the floor. And you can see that some tracking markers split up, and everything is not really good, but at least it works for this video. It don't really matter whether it's 100% accurate, but it's good for this. So let's go on. Okay, now so for this, what happens is that Blender always do some default settings when you come to camera tracking. You can see here in this section, you can see that we have something called background and foreground. So when you render this, we have to render a 2-layer, but I don't want to render 2-layer for this, so I will just get rid of one, so which is the foreground. You can get any one you like, it doesn't matter this time. And when you go to the compositing, you have some composite going on here as a default that camera does, so we don't need that, so we delete it and do our own later. So let's go on with the 3D. Okay, now I have seen all the tracking, and it's just fair, so I want to just hide this back, so I don't want to just mess up the 3D scene. So for this, I will just only leave the plane, the floor. So I will just go ahead, and you can see this is the floor. So what I will have to do now is to create my scene. So for this, let me just put it somewhere here. So I will just create the circle. So I will start with UV sphere. Okay, this is the UV sphere, so I will just press W to smooth out this sphere. So let me just turn out my screen cast so you can see what I'm pressing here. so I think it's more useful in 3D than the motion tracking section. Okay, now so you can see this. So this is so smooth. You can see, you can turn on the proportion editing just to give it some variation. Click on it. So I will just G and drag it. You can see that. Sorry. So turn on some proportion editing, then G. You can see how it drags. So you can use your scroll wheel. You can see to resize it. So to give it some variation. So what I will do now is to just give this some deformation. So by using displacement, so I just go ahead and give it. I first want to give it to a subdivision, but it will affect the render time. So let me just use displacement right away. So new, just click here, change it from movie to cloud. So you can just affect the cloud here, but instead of that, go back to the displacement. Now you can reduce the strength. So by affecting the strength, everything will work perfect. So I think this is okay. So I'll just duplicate this, like duplicate. So I just random settings, resize it, something like that. So duplicate once again. So I'm just giving some different variation from this. So give it low, something like this. So proportion editing, I just give you some random stuff. Okay, for this theory now, I will just have to put it in one collection, which is I will just click on it and press M to assign a new collection. Press M, then add a new collection. I'll just call this water. So this is the water collection, and this is the water that will be freeze out. So just have to continue to duplicate this until we have so many ones. So I'll just show you the step I took to do it. So this is not automatic generation, you have to do it manually. So that's it. You have to do the work. So I just deform it a bit. So just press A to save that. So now we have this 4. Okay. I think I'll just put this aside and put this in the middle like so. Okay. Texturing. So I'll just show you how to I do the shading. So there's not much in this, you just have to follow this step properly. So click there to start a new texture. I just call this water. So water texture. So what you have to do is to go to this transmission and give it 100% transmission because it's water. So to have 100% transmission, you can see here. So it looks like this because there's some roughness in it. So you just have to get rid of the roughness. Just get rid of the roughness to 0. So you can see that because I use the modifier, it's rough already. So you can still do the trick. So press Shift A, go to texture, now choose a mob grid texture and plug that in the displacement, and that's the trick. You can see we have more definition in it, so you can just reduce it. I like to reduce it to something very low, like here. My 7 is okay. So what I will do now is to assign this texture, to all the 3 textures. I just click here. So to do this, sometimes you can select it and assign it manually, but I will show you the easiest way to do this. So now you have to select all this, then select this. Okay, let me just go back to this texture. Now select all this. Now select where the texture is. Now click here in object and go to link. Go to link here. Now link material. You can see that you assign all the material inside one object, and that is what we want. Okay, so what the next step is now is to duplicate this as much as we can. That's the only way. You have to just duplicate it. Select it, then Shift D, duplicate it, drag it aside, select everything, duplicate it, drag it aside. So you can put it on 3D so that we can see everything we are doing properly. Duplicate it, then just have to keep doing this. So now you have to select everything once again. Now duplicate, move forward, duplicate, move forward, select everything, duplicate, move forward. You see the reason why I don't use the subdivision surface, because it will affect the render time, because we have a lot of objects in this scene. So you can't do that and have subdivision surface on every object. so that will affect the render time, so we don't have to do that. Just drag this up, so I'll just select everything again, and for this I think I select the camera and everything else, so I'll just undo that, back to this view, select it from here, from the top view, now back to the right view, now duplicate it again, then drag up, then duplicate. I think this is too much, so let me just use this, and I think this is enough. So what I will do now is to rescale this down. You can see it's very, very large for this scene. You can't drag this into the 3D space and expect it to look like a drop of water. Let me just drag it and press it. You can see how big it is. So you have to scale it down individually. So in Blender, when you just scale down, you just scale down everything like so, and this is not what we really want. We want to scale down individually. So just click here, now select individual origin, so it will say scale down individually. You can see how it's scaled down, and this is the trick. You can see how it's scaled down. So you can see that this is very, very straight, and you can see when you drag into the scene, you still have, let me just, it's very, very still large, so I just drag it down back to the scene. Now press S to scale it down a bit. Now we go back to the bounce to center, so I just scale down again, press 0. You can see that we are getting there, so scale down. I want to scale it up a bit, so I just drag it here. You can see. Now what I will do now is to drag it on, almost on the floor. So that is the trick. Drag it almost on the floor, so we can check everything right now. You can see how everything looks right now. So let me hide this floor, so you can see how everything looks right now. You can see that it's being tracked here. So now you can see now what is going on. So let me delete this and let me hide the camera now. So because I want to do something, so you can see that this is very, very, very straight, and you can't use this as water. You can see that it's define it accordingly. Alphabetical order. You can see how it doesn't separate, it doesn't scatter it. So we want to scatter this thing. So to be able to scatter it, just go to the object here. I think it's transform. Now you can randomize the transformation. So when you click this, it scatter it, but not enough scatter. So just press A, select everything now, select it once again, click here, transform, randomize the scale. Now come down here. Now you can give it a randomize of what you like. You can see how it separates. You can see what is going on here. So you can do it the way you like. You can see that it scattered it, and this is exactly what I'm looking for. So now it's been scattered, so I'll just go ahead and bring back the camera to see our background. So this has been scattered, so I just have to get rid of some. I think it is too many, so I just get rid of some, so delete them. So just select this, delete them. You can see how he's doing it, so we can just even do this ourselves manually by just dragging some points to each other to see the variation of this. When I click on the 0 back, 0, so we don't have the camera once again. I think I've mistakenly deleted the camera, so I have to undo that. That's a silly mistake I made. So this is the camera. I mistakenly deleted the camera. So let me just delete them here. Delete, delete, delete some. Delete this angle and this. So I just bring back the camera. So let's press 0 to check everything in objects, so you can see how everything looks like. Okay, now you can just use, you can see this in object. You can see the water. So what I do now is to animate some few things, so you can see how I do it. Looking good. So first thing I have to do is to do some keyframe to this. You can see that everything for this side, so I want to drag to scale it to this side also, not like that, so I just like this, so I just SY, so drag it like this a bit. So let's see on the camera. I think this is, I can still do more to that, rotate, then drag down. Let me check. I think let me drag it front and down. So let's see what's going on. I think this is okay. So the next thing now is to, let me check. Okay, let me just keyframe this. I'll just turn on the auto record so everything can be recorded at once. You can see. So I think I still need to separate this thing a bit. So what I will do now is to just, let me check the view. Okay, I just select some few random, just select them like this. I think there's a way to select random objects, but let me just do it this way. So what I'll do, I have to drag it to this side, then select again. This I will deselect that first, then I select again. So I'll just drag more to that side, because that side feel empty, so I want to fill that back. So we'll see what is going on in the scene. You can see I even scatter it more by doing this. So that is what you have to do. You have to scatter it as much as you can. So that is what, if everything falls on the same angle, the same side, it won't look very nice. Okay, you can see that everything looks scattered now. You can see everything looks scattered. So I will just have to animate some few objects in this. So what I will do is just select it, select some few like random. Now I'll just click here, just click on the one axis. You can see I already have animation on this, so I'll just drag it here, then I will move it on this axis. So you can see, so when you drag back and play, you have that object moving, you can see. So I'll select some few random. Don't select the camera, don't make that mistake. Okay, so I'll just drag random. So I'll do the keyframe at first, so I'll just move here, we just drag everything back. So even though I want to make this more accurate, so what I will just do is to just select everything from here, select all objects. After selecting objects, so I'll just add random keyframe, so everything in the first frame, you can see. So I don't have to do it once I just select it. So I just select any random, so start moving it to any angle, so I don't have to go back to the first frame then to move it. So we have to do this. So let me just, don't let me waste so much of time. I will just, when I finish this, then I will get back. Okay, now so what I did here is to give it some random rotation. So let me play this to see what is really going on in this. So you can see that I give it some random rotation and everything is moving randomly. So when you go to even the camera view, you can see that it's moving randomly, and that is exactly what I did to every part of this object. Okay, so that is all about this. So the next thing is to go to the and do the environment, so we can see it how it looks in the real environment I added this. So go back to shading. Now for this, we are going to the environment shader. So I'll just go to the world section. Now I'll just click on this world right here to view this in the world section. So let me just go back. Let me choose EV so that we can see everything clearly. So, and it's not be able to that fast in EV. So let me just use EV. Okay, now we have nothing here, so you can just press Shift A, go to the texture and choose environment texture right here, then plug it here. So you can see, then click on open. So we'll just go ahead and open the environment texture I use for this. So let me just look for it. So this is it. So I'll just drag it here, then open it. So this is the environment texture. So you can see that it's facing the wrong side, so I just click here, then press Ctrl T. Now I'll just orient this the way it should be. So I'll just rotate it on the Z to face here, so I just make it face up a bit, and so that's it. That's all I did. So I'll just put some color here, which is a RGB gamma. So I just put that here, then I will drop down the gamma. So something like this. Okay, so I'll just go back, then go to film. Now I choose transparent, so you already see this in transparent mode. So I just give you some detail back, so 0.8 or 0.7 should be fine. So that's it. So just look at it. So the next thing is to render this as frame. So before we do the render, let's check the passes. There is something called render passes when you come to rendering. So because we need to mask him out and place some water at its back and place some water at its front, so we need to do a passes. So we need something called cryptomat. So let's go and check cryptomat in render passes. So I don't need anything else, ambient occlusion, I don't need everything. So I don't need this cryptomat, so I just enable cryptomat, then press save to save your project. Don't forget to save your project. So I just go ahead and let me render this as image. Now you can see that it is done rendering, but we are having some problem. You can see the floor here, the plane is appearing, so we need to get rid of it. So we don't need that floor. So this is the plane, ground plane. So just click here and delete the ground plane. So in the background, you don't even have anything in the background. So just delete that once and for all. So we don't have to deal with that anymore. So render this again, render image. Now this is rendered. So let's go to the compositing and see what is going on in the compositing. So going to the composite, you can see that we have this being placed for us, but we don't really need some part of this. We don't need this. We don't need one out of it. So we just check back, then select back this to the background. Okay, now we don't want all this distortion, everything going on here. We don't need that. So we just only need the footage and the render layer. So, and we have alpha over here. So I just plug this to the top, and the render should be at the bottom. So you can see that everything backs to normal. So for this, we need this passes, which is the creator mask. Let me just show you this, what this looks like. You can see you can choose some objects here and fix some things. So before you do that, let's go back to the camera tracking. Now we need to do masking. So for this, let me open another session for masking because I don't want to just misplace all this. So let me just pull my portrait back. So I just hide all the cameras here. Press it to select all the camera. B. Okay, let me go back to tracking here. Press tab to go back tracking. So I just press it to select all the camera, then hide them. Okay, so that is done. I will just press tab to go back to the masking session. So for this, I will just enable mask.
So guys, to do masking is very simple. You just have to press the control, then click and drag. That's how to draw a mask in Blender. So just click on it and drag, click and drag, click and drag. So consider it's facing wrong direction, but you can switch the direction by clicking here to switch direction. You can see that it flip the direction back to normal, and I will just have to do it back. So just to draw it, after doing the mask, then I will go back and switch the direction. So you can leave it like this if you want to be like this, but I prefer doing the switching the direction, but it's only have to draw the mask and that's all. So just have to be careful and doing the mask because this is the sake of the tutorial. So I just do the mask like a rough mask. Okay guys, now so the mask is done. You can see how I did the mask. So just have to do it like this, then press Ctrl, then Alt and C to close that mask. So that's how to do it. But you have to animate the mask if you want to animate it. So just go to the second frame. So when you turn on the auto keyframe, so just have to go to the second frame, then adjust the mask accordingly. So this is very easy to draw mask, but it's very tedious. So it's very time consuming stuff. So you just have to be patient and do the mask properly, because if you don't do it properly, it will affect your VFX. So you can see that you can box select the mask, then G to grab it and move it to where you want it to be, and it depends on how you want to do the mask. So you have to do this properly so you have a good and better mask. And when you're done, let's go back to the compositing.
Okay, so first thing I will just do, let me just show you the crypto mask. So let's press Shift A, go to search, nice search, crypto mask. So choose crypto mask legacy. So let me show you how this works. When you just input all these settings here inside this respective place, so drag it like so, and the image itself, put it at the image here. So when you just press shift then control, click, you have nothing. You can see the mark. Then if you want to choose, just select pick here, you can see. So you can do this without even the shortcut, but I like using the shortcut because it's much faster, so you can see everything. So for this pick, you just have to click on this plus sign. So click on it. I want to say maybe this option will show here, so it's not showing, so let me just do it. So click on this plus sign, then select, plus select, plus select. So you can, let me show you what you select so far. You can see you select these 3 objects, and that is how it works. So you just have to select as much as you can for what you want to be at the front. So what I always do is that I always select the bigger object. You can see some objects are bigger, so it means that the bigger the object, the closer it is to the camera. So that is what I use to confirm it that I should choose them. So just choose the bigger object, like right away. I don't really look at it. So just have to be patient, then do the side, and let's input the mask. So for now we have the mask, so press shift A, go to input. Now you can select mask. Now if you click here, we have our mask. So our mask is inside this. You can see this mask. You can turn on the motion blur for this, it doesn't matter this time. So for this mask, it will be at the factor. So when you drag this to the factor, this is what we get. You can see that we have nothing. So you can just press, use the blur node to blur this out. Press shift A, search, you can search blur, select that, then plug that here. So blur it a few times, depends on what you want. So after doing that, now you can see that you don't see anything here. So you can invert it. Press shift A, go to color, now select invert node, now plug it here. You see that we have all our objects back, you can see. So we need to place some objects at the back and some objects will be at the front. So that is why we have the crypto mat. So we want to put some objects at the front and some objects should be at the back. So we can invert this selection by doing this. You can see how that is working. Okay, so what you have to do is to select some objects at the front and some objects at the back. Okay, I think we can. It's possible for us to invert this crypto mat also. I don't know. So what we have to do now is to select the object we want to be behind him. So what we have to do, let me just zoom in for you to see properly. So I want to choose some object behind. So you can see these objects are visible to it. So you can see, let's see the objects that I chose before. So let's choose more objects. Before, let's delete all these objects because I'm not going to use them. Let's remove all these objects. But instead of doing that, let's just delete this, then bring it back again. So I think that is possible. So let's start from this. You see that any object I choose now should be at the back. So let me choose these 2 objects that I want to be behind him. Let me just start by clicking on this plus, then choose this 3 objects. Choose that. Choose this. Then choose this. There are 2 here, choose them. So now you can see what I choose, and you can see exactly it's at the front. So I want to make sure this be behind. So what I will do now is to just subtract it from the mask. So the way I can subtract it from the mask is just to press. I'll just make sure I do another add node, press shift A, go to color, press a mix node. Now drop that here. Now choose subtract. Subtract this, subtract. So now just pick the alpha of this, put it to the down here. You can see that we don't see this anymore. You can even put it at the factor. I don't think this will work. So we did the same. So when you just select it, you don't see that anymore. So that is how you can do this, and you just have to select, pick more, So let's pick more. So you have to just be patient to do this because we have a lot of objects to pick. So let's see again. You can see we just have them behind, so you can just blur this a bit so we don't see them. So that is what I did to everything, and you just have to select this properly, then start doing it manually, and that is how you can. Okay, now that is how you can do this, and the only thing is just to do the compositing and do the collaborating. So that's it. So I hope you like this video. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys in my next video.